What's some advice maybe proactively? Because your division is obviously harder to get leads because it's not like a regular cleaner or mower. So yours is a lot more specialised. How are you helping yourself in regards to generating works? What's some advice maybe for franchisees who are in these sort of divisions which might have leads harder to come by? What's the secret to keep going?
It's exactly what we said, believing in yourself and just not taking those quiet periods and being quiet yourself. Be proactive, go out and talk to people. I talk to a lot of builders that provide work, real estate agents, insurance companies, that there is so much work out there. It's just whether you're strong enough and confident enough to go and get it.
Joining us today is Stefano from Jim's Hazmat. So Jim's Hazmat is a division that's been around for a while, but it goes under the radar a bit. Obviously, you're a division, I think there's around 40 or 50 franchisees in the division. So do you want to give us a bit of a little bit of a summary, Stefano, about what your division does and the service you provide?
Yeah, absolutely. So the main things that we provide is the hazardous material being asbestos removal, mold remediation, clandestine labs being properties that are affected by methamphetamine and the like, marijuana grow houses. They're probably the main things. We also do a bit of biohazard cleanup, syringe cleanup, things like that. But they're probably the main things that Hazmat focus on.
Now, in your franchise, Stefano, what is the main sort of, what percentage of sort of services are you getting? Is there a particular one or two that you're getting more often than anything else? Or?
Absolutely. So my main focus for my franchise is mold remediation. That takes up probably around 75% of my work. The remaining work sort of goes to the clandestine lab side of things with the methamphetamine cleanups and sampling. I try and stay away from the asbestos stuff, but a lot of the other hazmat guys, that's their main focus. Their main focus is on the asbestos stuff.
Can we just talk about the mold remediation then? So it's something that you spend a lot of your time on. What exactly is that service, and what sort of people are getting you out to do it, and maybe what's some stuff around that customers should be aware with mold remediation?
Absolutely. So the main thing with mold remediation is basically you're 9 times out of 10 at private properties, and it's basically they've either had a water event where they've had a leaking pipe or something of the sort, which has caused some water damage over a period of time. That water hasn't been taken care of, which then causes microbial growth, mold growth. When that happens, there's really not much you can do except for source removal of the building material. You can try and clean it. It doesn't really work though. You're more going down the path of sort of removing whatever the affected material is and then remediating the things that are left behind, like your timber framings and stuff like that. That's probably the main thing.
Well, just how serious is mold? Because obviously it's I'm not a doctor or anything, but it's like, obviously health is a big thing, right? So if people have got asthma or they've got some other things as well, it can be quite serious if it's left not in place. So is that something where you got customers, they think they've got some mold, you come out, you make an assessment, and then you can sort all that from?
Absolutely. That's exactly. And as you said, look, I'm not a doctor either, but when you get sort of mold that releases mycotoxins, i.e. like a Stachybotrys, which is black mold, it can be really, really hazardous for your respiratory system. Once it gets in there, affects your lungs. Like you said, if people have asthma and the like, it can be really, really toxic. It can also cause mold poisoning, which can make you really, really sick as well.
And I was going to say, the other one you mentioned, which I think is going to be obviously something that's becoming more and more, something that people become aware about, is the meth stuff. So obviously, unfortunately, people might, if they have a rental property or something like that, tenants in there might be doing, who knows what. And I was surprised when I've interviewed someone before from Hazmat. They told me just the percentage of properties that have it through the house was quite remarkable to me. So it's a problem that I think that is maybe not gets the awareness that it needs to, but it's becoming more and more prevalent, isn't it?
It really is. It's definitely a growing problem across the country. Look, I think we'll soon follow towards the New Zealand model where they actually enforce after a property's been tenanted, you have to have methamphetamine sampling done to check the property is safe for reoccupation. So I think we're going to head more down that sort of a path because it really is, as you said, becoming more and more prevalent in a lot of homes.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the liability for the landlord as well. If you've got a house where you're trying to rent out to someone, is it a safe place? If there's got things like mold and meth, if you're not getting those tests done, it could be a liability issue as well.
Absolutely.
And I was going to say as well, with your business, you mentioned 9 out of 10, is it more residential? You got landlords coming to you or commercial property owners, or who's the people who are using your services?
Correct. So mainly it's landlords, owner-occupier homes is probably the main thing. We every now and again we do a commercial property, but it's probably 1 in 10 that we're seeing on the commercial side at the moment.
And I was going to say as well, with the business itself, how did you actually get involved in Hazmat as well? What's your experience and how did you come to be with it?
So I started about 8-9 years ago working for a company focusing on mold remediation, just doing restoration services for a company that worked predominantly with insurance companies, and just started to really enjoy it. And then just sort of needed to make a decision on what I wanted to do. Was I happy working for someone for the rest of my life, or did I want to make a go of it myself and start my own business? And then I started looking down the path of franchising rather than taking all the risk on myself. And I found gyms, and it's been an absolute blessing, really.
Fantastic customer service rating. I always have a look at the ratings of people before we interview them, and you've got a perfect 5-star rating, which is really, really impressive. And you got a lot of reviews as well, which is great. And, your jobs would be maybe one a day or something like that, I presume. So to get that many reviews is quite really well done to yourself, because that's not easy to do. So what's to you, Stefano? Why are you getting so many good reviews, and what's to you as good customer service? And what's the gym's difference maybe from using you to maybe someone else?
Well, that's probably one thing I really pride myself on is my customer service. I really want to make sure that every client's different. No two problems are the same. Even though they may look the same, you're dealing with different people. So I try and really personalize that experience and make them feel like they're being helped, not just another cab off the rank and get in and out and get paid and away I go. No, it's more about making sure they're comfortable with the service that I'm providing, as well as they're at the end of the job, they're happy with it and happy to give me a recommendation and as you said, a 5-star review.
Now, what's the process for someone? So someone might think they've got mold, or they got a rental property and they didn't know what the tenants were doing. Is it just simply they just call the call center, you speak with them on the phone, then come out, do an assessment, send off stuff to the lab, or how does the whole process actually work?
That's exactly right. So basically they'll reach out to the call center. The call center then sends us the lead. We contact the client, try and determine if it's something that we can help out first of all on, and then get out to the property as soon as possible to do an inspection and then provide them a quote from there.
And how does your average week generally look like? How many jobs are you roughly doing, or how does it work? Are you doing maybe quotes and stuff in the first 3 days and next 2 days you're doing other things, or how does your week normally shape up with your business?
That's basically exactly right, Joel. So it's essentially 1 or 2 days of quoting, and then you're sort of looking at the other 3-4 days of the week being you're actually on site doing works. That's the way I try and do it anyway, is my Monday and Tuesday is predominantly driving around, doing my quoting, getting all the little jobs done. If I can go and do a chemical spray or something like that to quickly appease a client, then that's what I'll do. Otherwise, then it goes into my sort of Wednesday to Friday or Saturday bracket where I do my main bulk jobs.
Quite interesting, because the division originally started off as asbestos removal, but obviously it's morphed into mold and these other things as well, which are becoming way more prevalent. Do you think it's just a matter of time before this thing really explodes in terms of the awareness in the community, especially with the meth and the mold? Because I think people know about it, but they don't still take it as serious. But are you seeing more and more people starting to take it a lot more seriously?
Absolutely. And I think our government as well is starting to take it a lot more seriously. And I think soon we'll start to see legislation on new home builds as well. I mean, the amount of new builds that I go to where timber framing's wet when plaster gets put on, which, it's only a matter of time before the microbial growth begins with that sort of stuff. So I think that within a matter of time, we'll sort of see legislation from the government to say that they'll have to have inspections done prior to plaster and things going on, which again will infinitely grow our industry.
Other services should a landlord especially maybe get just as a standard practice? So if someone moves out, should they be mandatory just getting a mold, or should they be getting a meth? What are the sort of reports, or what should they be getting you out to do?
Look, I think it varies on property to property, but I think as a basis, it really wouldn't hurt, especially the real estate. They're the ones that take care of the properties for the landlords. They know the tenants better than the landlords. They see what's going on when they do their inspections. I think they're the ones that probably need to make more of the call of, okay, this one probably needs a methamphetamine sampling, or, we've had a bit of water spillage in the laundry. Let's get a mold inspection done as well, because we can come out and do thermal imaging and moisture testing as well, just to see if any of the materials are wet. And then that's a really big indicator as to whether or not you're going to find microbial growth.
This is a very obvious question, but how can someone maybe identify they've got mold in their property? Is it discoloration in the corner, or what are some things they should maybe be looking out for and be mindful of, and they see it, then they go, I need to get this looked at?
Well, the biggest things are probably noticing if you've had a water leak, or if you see your taps are dripping when they're off, and then exactly what you say, just checking around the skirting, seeing if there's any darkness where the dust builds up and it's turning a bit blacker than what it should be. It's usually a really good indicator that you've got some mold growth there.
And how's the business been as well, from being an employee for a while you were in this field to sort of being a business owner? What's the reality of the transition like? Maybe do you want to outline for people? Is there something where you just need to be a bit more motivated, or what's the difference been from going by both worlds?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's on you at the end of the day. It's when you're working for someone, you can sort of get by and, you fly under the radar a little bit. But when it's your own business, it's on you, and it's up to you how big you want to make it, or if you're happy just getting by. And for me, it's been, as I said to you at the beginning, an absolute blessing just having that opportunity to believe in myself and really take it on and try and grow something special.
Well, that's the thing. I think the belief is the big thing. Obviously, you sound very capable and you've got a really good star rating. It's sort of like, well, sometimes it's just a confidence thing more than anything. So if you sort of notice yourself, or as your friends and family notice your confidence has grown since you've been doing the business?
Yeah, absolutely they have. Actually, over Easter, I had a chat with my dad about it, and he said, you've changed so much over the last 12 months just by, you've shown so much growth. There was times where when you were not doing this for yourself, there were times where you were sort of a bit lost, when now you seem like you've got just a real goal, and you're very driven towards that, and it's good to see. So that was really nice to hear as well.
Yeah, because you've just been going over for a year now, so the first 12 months in business is obviously the hardest, or they say it's the hardest. So what's maybe been the challenges, or what's been the hardest part in the 12 months for you doing the business?
Look, the hardest part's probably just been the consistency of work. But in saying that, I've been very lucky where I've had some really big jobs that have sort of been able to carry me through those quiet periods, and when I say quiet period, just sort of talking about 2 or 3 weeks. So that's my goal for this next 12 months, is making sure that I don't have 2 or 3 week quiet periods. It's back down to 1 or 2. But yeah, that's probably been the hardest part.
Yeah. And what have you been doing then? What's some advice maybe proactively? Because your division is obviously harder to get leads, because it's not like a regular cleaner or mow. So yours is a lot more specialized. So how are you helping yourself in regards to generating work? What's some advice maybe for franchisees who are in these sort of divisions which might have leads harder to come by? What's you as the secret to keep going?
It's exactly what we said, believing in yourself, and just not taking those quiet periods and being quiet yourself. Be proactive. Go out and talk to people. I talk to a lot of builders that provide work, real estate agents, insurance companies, that there is so much work out there. It's just whether you're strong enough and confident enough to go and get it.
That's a really good one you mentioned, is the insurance companies. How do you recommend people approach insurance companies, or how do you do it?
I basically just contact the big insurers and ask to speak with their procurement teams. Once you get onto them, it's a really easy process. Look, it's really hard to get on their panels, but if you can just at least get your name out there with them, then you can sort of then when they go through really busy periods and their current contractors can't keep up, that's when you'll get your foot in the door and be able to. But if they don't know your name, you've got no chance. So you've got to really be proactive and just continuously call them up. I have a once a month routine where I contact all my insurers. I know I'm not getting work from them at the moment. However, I know that eventually there's going to be an event, there's going to be a storm, there's going to be something that they're then going to need extra hands on deck. And I want to be front of mind when that happens.
Good advice. And I was going to say as well, with the support and training from your head office, is there ongoing training, or what's the support like been from the head office with Hazmat?
Look, the support's been really good. Sam, my franchisor, has been fantastic right the way through. He's constantly checking in on me and just seeing how things are going and asking questions. Do I need anything? Fortunately, I haven't been in a position where I've really needed too much from Sam, but he's always been there for me the whole ride. So it's really, really good support.
And maybe what's your advice then for someone looking at maybe doing what you've done? What would you tell yourself 12 months ago? Like if you were to start again, what would you sort of be saying about doing this?
Take the jump. Take the jump. It's worth the risk. Like everything in life, there's going to be risks, but if you don't take the risk, you're not going to get the reward. So yeah, that'd be my best piece of advice, is just take that risk and believe in yourself.
That's the hardest thing then, because obviously you've got a lot of, you speak fantastically, you've got great customer service. You probably could have done this years ago in regards to what you've been doing. So just that confidence and that belief that to pull that, to get away from the employment, which is the scary part to do it. But It seems to me, yeah.
It's just getting away from that security. You've got a security blanket when you're employed. You've got a consistent wage. Everything is kosher. You're able to sort of go through and be happy. Whereas it's really hard to. My father, again, just to go back to him, he always said the hardest thing is to believe in yourself. It's very easy to believe in other people and see other people as role models, but it's very hard to have that same line of thinking for yourself. And that's something that's really helped me over the last 24 months even. And I'm kicking myself that I didn't do it sooner.
And you have to say exact figures, but financially, you're happy with where you're at financially with the business as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, just the rough figures, just in my first 12 months, I think I did about 150,000 worth of work.
Wow.
Which is great. It's the exciting part is there's so much room for improvement. As I said, there was those sort of 2-3 week quiet periods, even sometimes 4 weeks. So, that's a month out of your year that you haven't really earned and still made such a substantial amount of money. So there's definitely a really, really big opportunity there.
And what sort of costs then come with the division? Obviously, you've got some equipment and stuff like that you use, but what costs are there outside of maybe equipment costs?
Look, you've got all your chemicals, materials. I use a lot of plastic sheeting and things like that for containment barriers, zips. Those sort of little things do add up. Look, on average, you're probably spending around $1,000 to $1,500 a month on materials.
And that's not too bad. And obviously there's business expenses and stuff like that with tax. But I was also going to say as well, what's your plan then for your business? So you've done the first 12 months, you've hit a great revenue figure. What's your plan? Are you planning on increasing the work for yourself? Are you planning on building a team, or what are you looking to do with the business?
Absolutely. So the plan is for the next 6 months to try and just get that bit more consistency within the work. And then once I've got that consistency, I'll look at bringing someone else on board and then just start building a team from there. So once I've got someone else on board, that frees me up a little bit to go and chase more work. Once I'm able to do that, then I'll start employing hopefully 1 or 2 more on top of that as well.
Good stuff. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Now, obviously, from your car, so you're out on the road today doing your business. So thank you very much for joining us today, Stefano. We're going to give you this Accor voucher as well on behalf of the Gyms Group, which is 2 free nights at a hotel from Accor, which is great, and some discounts on dining and drinks, which is really good as well. So we'll get that to you via email. That generally comes in 10 business days. And if it doesn't come to you, please let us know. But thank you for joining us today on the podcast and taking the time. It's great to hear you doing really well, and congratulations on your first 12 months. And as I said, you've got a perfect 5-star rating, and in a division which doesn't get as many leads as, let's say, a mowing or cleaning, because it's just not that type of work. To get as many 5-star reviews as you've done is really, really impressive. So well done.
Appreciate that, Joel. Thank you.
No, thanks, Stefano. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the episode of the Gyms podcast. If you want to learn more about the Gyms Group, head to gyms.net or call us on 131 546 Australia or 0800 454 654 New Zealand. And if you did like the episode as well, please make sure you leave a review or a comment or a thumbs up or a comment on the video as well. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.